So I bet I know what you're wondering. How is English 1030 Composition and Rhetoric going to work in an online course model? Well, this is where we talk about the syllabus. I'm going to try and keep this brief, but it's really important that you watch, and it's really important that we all are on the same page. So I'm going to do an overview of the syllabus, but it's really important for you to know that if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have any problems, if you have any issues, I'm anticipating that. Right now, though, know that I want to help you, and that if you're facing any challenges, any problems, any issues, or if you have any questions, please send me an email. Get in contact with me, jdrich@g.clemson.edu. I want to help you. It's confusing to take an online course. I've taken online courses many times. They can be a little bit rough the first couple of weeks. That's just a fact. I'm going to try and anticipate your questions or questions that are likely to pop up. I'm going to try and make this as simple and clear and easy as possible, but inevitably I'm going to miss something, and that's on me. But I have office hours. I'm also available by appointment. I'm fairly free this week. I've set aside large blocks of time to help students during what is going to be a little bit of a confusing or at least challenging semester at first. So please get into contact with me. I'm pretty approachable. I'll probably email you back quite fast. But here's the syllabus. Alright, so we are here on the syllabus. This syllabus will have all of the information that you could possibly need to know, hopefully, to be successful in this course. So this is the syllabus for English 1030, and my name is Jacob Richter. This is Composition and Rhetoric for the fall 2020 semester at Clemson University. So the most important thing that you need to know is that you should read through this syllabus line by line, section by section, and internalize all of it. I'm kidding, but you should read through it. You should have a solid grasp of the course content and a solid grasp of what the syllabus conveys to you. But in the event that you are unable to internalize all of this automatically, this YouTube video is meant to be a supplement to your personal read-through of the syllabus. So as far as our syllabus goes, it has all pertinent information that you'll need to know to be successful. It's got my name, Jacob D. Richter. My email is jdrich@g.clemson.edu. My office hours will be held on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're at slightly different times. That way there are morning hours as well as afternoon hours. So on Tuesday, I will be in Zoom at that link. It's going to be one stable link. Just literally copy and paste this https clemson.zoom.us link into your browser, and you'll be into a waiting room where I will then answer your appointment. But anyways, Tuesdays 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and then Thursdays 1 o'clock p.m. to 2:30 p.m. So you'll see 2:30 p.m. So you'll see that I'm also available by appointment. So that is certainly something that you can request. Just shoot me an email, and I will certainly make it a priority to make time for you. My office is in 801 Strode Tower. Office hours will be held generally over Zoom. That is how I like to do it. But if in the event that you absolutely need to meet me in person, 801 Strode Tower is the place where that would happen. So our course goals, our principal goal for this semester is to nurture proficient and empowered rhetorical citizens. A strong component of being rhetorically empowered is to have expertise and aptitude in the act of writing. Considering that rhetoric is never static, we will also additionally consider other forms of rhetoric as a primary goal. Ultimately, this course will strive to nurture and cultivate students who are capable of engaging writing and rhetoric in ways that will prove beneficial to their societies, to their communities, and to their fellow classmates. So you can read through the course description. We will be writing in both digital and print environments. The general themes for this course revolve around instruction and discussion related to rhetoric, to composition, to writing, to reading, and to invention in all of its forms, both print, digital, and elsewise. We'll explore throughout the semester how rhetoric is profoundly tied to gender, to race, to class, to privilege, to politics, and to community. And of course, we will write as well as deeply consider how our habits and practices are influenced by all of those items. So as far as the course goes, you do not need to buy a textbook. If you have bought a textbook, you can go ahead and return that. There was a textbook listed called Envision in Depth. We're no longer going to use that textbook. We're going to read the first chapter, which I have linked as a free PDF for you. but you can return that book. It was listed for the course, but I decided to pivot and not make you all spend $70 on a textbook during a global pandemic. So we're going to use entirely open access resources. So you'll see those linked here. You'll be able to find those linked throughout the syllabus. Anything that you're going to read throughout the course is already linked to this syllabus. But let me know if you have issues with a computer and internet connection. In a pandemic, when you are probably working in an environment that is a little bit unfamiliar to you, we cannot take that for granted. If you're having issues with your computer or with your Wi-Fi and it's impeding your ability to be successful in this online course, communicate that to me as fast or as soon as possible. We'll be relying upon those things very deeply. As far as the learning outcomes for the course, I'm not going to go through bullet by bullet, but they entail rhetorical knowledge. You can read the rest of those. After rhetorical knowledge, we have critical thinking, critical reading, and critical writing. We then have processes of composing, followed by knowledge of conventions, and finally, composing in electronic environments. So really important here at the bottom of page 3 are our course policies as well as our grading procedures. So the final grade distribution is laid out right here. You'll all leave with a grade in this course in December. How that will be calculated is entirely up to you, but you'll see that the first project, which will be due in about a month, will be 15% of your final grade. We have a second and a third project. Both of those are major projects that we'll spend upwards of a month on. And project number 2, the Mapping the Controversy project, will be 20% of your final grade. And finally, project number 3, the position statement for a public audience, will be 25% of your final grade. So that's all determined mathematically. That is all entirely a mathematical distribution. Finally, participation, which will be done through the software platform YellowDig, I'll get to that in a moment, is 25% of your final grade. Peer review through a technology called Flipgrid, I'll get to that in a second, will be 10% of your final grade. So it's slightly less than participation, but it's very deeply connected. And then finally, every other week we'll do a weekly check-in on Google Forms, and those are 5% of your final grades. I'll get to the weekly check-ins in a moment. Those are ungraded. If you do them, you get 100%. That 5% is really a gimme. That is me essentially sending out a check-in Google form that is not going to ask you to do very much work at all, but I'm just going to ask you to be honest and answer whether the course structure and content are working for you, or if it could be done better, essentially if I can help you. So we talked about office hours. Office hours are going to be over Zoom, Tuesdays 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Thursdays 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. All of these times are Eastern time. You can click this link, just click that right there, and it'll take you to the Zoom call. As far as office hours go, I will always be in the Zoom call. It would be ideal if you can give me a heads up that you're going to be coming. You can say, hey, Professor Richter, I'd like to meet Tuesday at 11:30. We can absolutely set that up. But of course, office hours are there for you to drop in. The only advantage to having a schedule or having an appointment just made over email is that way I can be sure that I'm not that you won't have to wait. Because if I'm already with someone else, then that person's entitled to a degree of privacy. So ideally, make an appointment with me if you can. But otherwise, it's perfectly fine and encouraged to drop in. Use office hours liberally in an online course. Office hours can be your best friend. As far as the course sequence and schedule goes, we move on a Wednesday to Wednesday sequence, meaning that every assignment, every project, everything that you have due is going to be due on a Wednesday at 4:59 p.m. So Wednesdays are the magic day for this course. Everything will be due on Wednesdays. On Wednesday evenings at 5:00 p.m., a new week starts, and I'll send out a new itinerary for that week. Email is always the best way to reach me. I'm really diligent with email. I usually get back within, I would say, 24 hours. Frequently, it is much faster than that. I am on email all the time. I love talking with students. I greatly enjoy building relationships and connecting with you all. Email is one good way to do that. As far as due dates and extensions, if you ask for an extension this semester, you will always receive it. You don't need an excuse. You don't need a reason. You don't need to tell me. why or why not. Like essentially, you don't need to tell me why you won't be getting the project in on time. All projects are assigned a due date. However, if you miss that due date, there will be no late penalty. That is a COVID-19 policy that I've implemented. You have to have all your work in for the semester by the end of the semester, by the very last day, I believe December 4th. But when you get that in, is not going to be penalized with a late grade. With that being said, it behooves you, it's very beneficial for you to get everything in at the suggested due date. However, if you don't, if you run into to an issue, or obviously if you get sick, something along those lines, or if life is just getting difficult for you, it's perfectly okay to take a couple of days if you need to get the project in. Don't take advantage of this. Please be very cognizant that you're not going to leave yourself a bunch of work to do in the last 2 weeks. I'm not sure the course could be passed in that scenario. But this is meant to ensure flexibility. This is meant to ensure care. And ultimately, I want you to know deeply that I care about you all and that I want you to be successful. We will be using 2 learning management systems. The first one is Canvas. You'll probably use Canvas in many of your courses in your time at Clemson. The other is called YellowDig. So I'll get to YellowDig in just a moment. I'm going to make a separate video on the learning management systems. The learning management system is just a digital platform that instructors will use to communicate with students, to send files, to upload important, pertinent information. So we'll use both Canvas and YellowDig. I talked about the weekly check-in. I'm going to send a Google form out every other week. It'll essentially be multiple choice questions. It's not meant to be at all stressful. It'll probably never be more than 5 multiple choice questions, and they'll be entirely concerned with questions such as, is the course structure this week working for you? Do you know what is expected of you this week? Could anything be better or different in the course? That sort of thing. So don't even focus on quality or quantity there. Focus entirely on honesty. And if you do that, you get full credit. I'm going to make a separate video all about participation, but participation in this course will be done through a platform called YellowDig. If you know social media feeds, you will thrive on YellowDig. It mimics the look and feel of a Facebook feed. That's how we will learn from and with one another. I'm going to make a separate video on this, but the goal on YellowDig is simple. Each week you'll try to get to 100 points. You get points through participating. So if you make a post of 80 words or more, then you get 20 points, I believe. Each week you'll get to 100 points through commenting, through making posts, through liking, and responding and conversating with others. So that is a big part of your grade. That is our essentially like replacing our in-person course discussion. And that's where I'll do lots of teaching. But I'm going to make a separate video on that, so don't worry about that quite yet. Plagiarism and academic dishonesty. Do not plagiarize. If you don't know what plagiarism is, we will discuss it heavily in class, but make sure that you ask that question. I am here as your resource. The Writing Center is a resource that you should make use of. Many of my most successful students use the Writing Center liberally. The Writing Center has online appointment hours. You can find all of the information there. The Writing Center is essentially a writing tutor who will help you with a writing assignment. So lots of my best students in the past in this course have made use of the Writing Center. You should as well. In a inclusion statement, so I expect that students will have very different learning styles. For example, it might be difficult for you to process information in certain ways, say through reading, so we can make adjustments if you would like for that to happen, if that would help you to be more successful. Clemson University values the diversity of our student body as a strength and is a critical component to our dynamic community. Students with disabilities or temporary injuries and conditions may require accommodations due to barriers in the structures of facilities, course design, technology, and other campus resources. If you would like this to be addressed, I will make it an absolute priority to immediately create a course that you can be successful in. As a segue, student accessibility services are, of course, available for you. If you have an accommodation, if you have individualized needs, I heavily encourage you to get into contact with them, and we can create a course that is able to facilitate your success. Title IX sexual harassment is obviously a major priority in an online course. Do not make the mistake of thinking that sexual harassment cannot happen. In an online course, sexual harassment can very much happen, can very much be something that takes place. Be very careful and know the definition of what sexual harassment is. And you should also be aware that as an instructor, I am a mandated reporter in instances of sexual assault or harassment, as are all of your professors. Go ahead and read through the grading policy for this course. You'll see it right here. What differentiates a student who leaves this course with an A compared to a student who leaves this course in December with a B, compared to a C, a D, or an F. No need to read through the major assignments quite yet. We'll get to those. I'll make videos introducing each of those assignments. But suffice it to say, we have 3 major projects. Each of them is worth 20 points. The third one is worth 25 points. That'll be our closing project. No need to worry about those quite yet, but project 1 is due in about a month. So we have a little bit of time, the landmark analysis project, but we'll start thinking about that relatively soon. Now, as far as the course schedule, as I've mentioned, we move on a Wednesday to Wednesday schedule. So a new week starts on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and that week ends the following Wednesday at 4:59 Eastern Time. So it should be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We don't have we do have due dates for the course, but there are no late penalties. I heavily encourage 99% of students to abide by those due dates. It'll be heavily beneficial for you in the long run. All work must be completed to pass the course, but when you complete that is up to you. If you need a day or two on an assignment, you should absolutely take that day or two. However, don't take advantage of that policy. I'm trying to provide you flexibility and care. Due dates are loose and encouraged, but all work must be turned in at some point. You may as well not leave it for yourself at the end of the semester. And I'll provide regular check-ins. Each week we will have a research question. So to orient our semester in the progression of our course, we'll be asking and hopefully answering those research questions each week. So you'll find the research questions right over here on the left-hand corner of the course schedule. So the course schedule is pretty simple. We have 15 weeks in the course. You have all of the reading and all of the work that you'll be required to complete for this semester for this course already mapped out right here. So there will be no added assignments. There will probably not be any added readings. If I do add a reading, it would be something short. It would be something supplemental. All assignment dates are final. I don't change assignment dates. I figure it all out ahead of time in August, prior to the semester's beginning, and I don't diverge from that. So you'll see that, say for week 1, you have 2 things to read, and then you have a little bit to write on Yellow Dig. Yellow Dig being our participation network composition website, right in Canvas. I'll make a separate video on that, as I've mentioned. But so each week you'll see that you have something to read and then something to write. Oftentimes they'll always be linked. We're not using a textbook, so there'll always be links. I'll also be making videos each week for you to watch, and you'll find all pertinent information here. But basically, the research question is on the left. Say for our second week, we'll be answering the question of what is rhetoric, which we're going to be continually revisiting throughout the semester. But you know exactly what you have due that week. So for instance, if you're wondering, okay, what do I have on October 15th? October 15th, it'll be week number 8 from October 7th to it'll be week number 9. Week number 9, so you know exactly what you're doing then. So if you're traveling, well, hopefully you're not traveling too much during a pandemic. But if you know you have a commitment, you know exactly what's going to be due throughout the semester. And as I've said, but I'll repeat it, I'm not changing any due dates really whatsoever. If I do, it's extremely rare. In my entire teaching career, probably, in 6 years, I've probably done it maybe once, maybe twice. Probably just once. Anyways, so you know exactly what you'll be doing, say November 4th. You'll know exactly what you'll be doing, in early December at the end of the course. We do not have a final exam, but all work must be in by December 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Anything after that cannot be accepted, unfortunately. All work must be in to your instructor in Canvas at 5 p.m. on December 4th. Now finally, at the end on page 15 of this rather long syllabus, we have COVID-19 policies, extensions, for lateness, and for caring and helping for one another. But basically, get all the work in by the final day of class. Please, 99% of you should have all of your assignments in at the due date. However, if you are sick, if you are facing some complication in your life, it's okay to take a couple of days. You will not have a late penalty for anything. The exception to that is yellow dig, which must be done each week. In extenuating, extraordinary circumstances, that can be changed just a bit. We can become flexible. But for the most part, have everything in at the due date. In extenuating circumstances, you do not need an excuse. You can turn something in late with no penalty. So that is the syllabus. If you have any questions, any concerns, any issues, any problems that arise, please get into contact with me. It is your responsibility to get into contact with me. Come to office hours, pop in. You see my email, jdrich@g.clemson.edu. You see my office hours Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time at that Zoom link. If you have questions, get in touch. I hope you are enjoying the first week. I wish you all luck. I am here for you if something goes wrong. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all and working with you all. And I hope you all have a fantastic week.